Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are studying Quranic studies, the third verse, Al-Imran, and its main topic is final testament to Christians in details about it, and plus personality development is also a part of that for the faithful movement, that how you should improve. And today's our topic is from the sentences 33 to 63, which is the history of Prophet Jesus alayhi salatu salam, and then final warning to Christianity, that what you should do and what you should not do. So this is the God's message to Christianity in detail. This happened at the time during life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Christian leaders, their delegation came from Najran city to Medina, and they discussed with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then God gave detailed about Christianity in detail, that what is right according to Prophet Jesus alayhi salatu salam, and what is not according to Prophet Jesus alayhi salatu salam. It was detailed discussed in detail. So today is our topic to discuss it. So you can see, especially we will see that what was the history of Prophet Jesus alayhi salatu salam and what it did. So this we will discuss in the Quran, and then you will match that in the Gospels in Bible and match with the Quran in detail, that what's the reality. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the ever merciful. إن الله اصطفى آدم ونوحا وآل إبراهيم وآل عمران على العالمين ذرية بعضها من بعض والله سميع عليم إذ قالت امرأة عمران رب إني نذرت لك ما في بطني محررا فتقبل مني إنك أنت السميع العليم. O Prophet, these people of the God's book want to argue with you. Confirm that God selected preference to send my counsel to Adam, Nuh, Abraham's family, which means all the prophets in the Abraham's family, and Imran's family, whatever prophets from the family of Imran were there, over all the nations, choose them to guide these nations. They are the successors of one another, and whatever they have been saying and doing, God is aware of it, because God observes and knows all performance of them. Remind them of the incident when Imran's wife requested, Lord, I dedicate to your service this child which is in my womb, by revealing it of all responsibilities. Therefore, accept it from me. Indeed, you alone hear all and know all. So actually, it was the family of Imran, and Imran was the father, or you can say the great father of this family of Mary radiallahu ta'ala anha. So then the wife when she had a child in her womb, so they requested God that please, I want to dedicate my child about your detailed responsibilities, and God has given the responsibility of especially the family of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, that you have to give the God's message to all the nations. You have to do this, and your performance must be according to the 10 Commandments, which is in Torah. You should work according to it. So this was the scenario. So now we further see فلما وضعتها قالت ربي إني وضعتها أنثى والله أعلم بما وضعت وليس الذكر كالأنثى وإني سميتها مريم وإني أعيذها بك وذريتها من الشيطان الرجيم فتقبلها ربنا بقبول حسن أو أنبتها نباتا حسنا وكفلها زكريا كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا قال يا مريم أن لك هذا قالت هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب هنالك دعا زكريا ربه قال ربي هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة إنك سميع الدعاء. Translation is, when she delivered the child, she said, Lord, I have given birth to a daughter. God well knew of what she had delivered, but she said, a boy is not like a girl. I have named her Mary or Maryam in Arabic, and I give her and her children in your refuge from cursed Shaitan. They were her feelings. However, her Lord graciously accepted this girl, and he made her grow a goodly child and made Zachariah her guardian, who was the uncle of Mary. Wherever Zachariah visited her in the praying niche, he would see the blessing of God. At one such occasion, he asked Mary, where did you get this wisdom from God? She replied, this is from God, I get it. Blessings of your Lord were for this girl. Indeed, God gives without measure to whom he desires. It was then that Zachariah prayed to his Lord and requested, Lord, grant me for your own grace, peace of spiring like Mary. Indeed, you hear the prayers of your servant. Actually, what was the scenario? That Zachariah was a prophet, alayhi salatu salam, and he was uncle of Maryam or Mary radiyallahu anha. Actually, what is the difference? Maryam is in Arabic and Ibrani language, and in European languages it is called as Mary. So this is the difference only. And when she go to the mosque Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, and she was getting training of religious matters, and God gave her a lot of benefit to her. And the Prophet Zakaria get it, so he asked about Mary that what, how did you get such wisdom about it? She said that God has, Allah has given me this. So based on that, Zakaria requested God that also give wisdom to me, and also my give me also a child, because Zakaria alayhi salam did not have any son or daughter. So he requested God. But he was very old man at that time, and he requested. So then, now you can see the location of Mary radiallahu anha and Zakaria, and also Zakaria get a son John, which is in Arabic Yahya, and then Mary had a child which is Jesus, or in Arabic Isa alayhi salam. You can see right now in the Google that this is the mosque Al-Aqsa, which was construction was done at Prophet David alayhi salam. He did it, and on the left side, which is the eastern side, which is they are the tomb of Zakaria is there, which might be his home, was might be there, and then Mount of Olives was also there, which is very important point there, and Virgin, the tomb of Virgin, which is the Mary radiallahu anha, when we hope that her home was there, but she was going to the mosque and prayed with God, and also the training was conducted at that time. So this is in Jerusalem in that. Then God further explained the scenario, that further what happened as a result of that. فَنَادَتْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ يُصَلِّي فِي الْمِحْرَابِ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يُبَشِّرُكَ بِيَحْيَى مُصَدِّقًا بِكَلِمَةٍ مِنَ اللَّهِ وَسَيِّدًا وَحَصُورًا ونبيا من الصالحين قال ربي أنى يكون لي غلام وقد بلغني الكبر وامرأتي عاقر قال كذلك الله يفعل ما يشاء قال رب اجعل لي آية قال آيتك ألا تكلم الناس ثلاثة أيام إلا رمزا واذكر ربك كثيرا وسبح بالعشي والإبكار. In reply, the angels called out to Zakaria when he was praying in the niche, saying, God gives you glad tidings of the birth of John, which is in Arabic Yahya, in English and European languages his name is John alayhi salam, which is in Bible the Baptist, who shall confirm a directive of God, be a leader or obstinate person, and a prophet from among the righteous people of God. So Zakaria asked from angels about amazement of that. When I am old and my wife is also barren, how can I get a son? The angels gave answer, in this manner God does what he want to do it. So it's not a problem. Zachariah requested, Lord, give me a sign for me. The angel replied that the sign for you is that for 3 days you shall not be able to speak to people except that through gestures only you can just speak that, but you cannot speak with your normally. Remember, you should remind your Lord very much and glorify him morning and evening. You should do it. So right now you can see that at that time Zachariah, Prophet ﷺ, he was praying with God. So this prayer, this was started with Prophet Adam ﷺ to today. This was required that you should go to God and request God. This is the praying which we do right now. And now the son of Prophet Zachariah, he was Prophet John or Yahya alayhi salam. In Bible, he is named as Baptist. Why Baptist? Because he was sure to get rid of sins and do repentance. This was the method. And this all people when get the God's message through Zachariah and John alayhi salam, and whoever wanted to do this repentance, then they go to Prophet John and he suggested them that right now give this wash your all your body as well as your whole personality in your mind as well, so that you get rid of all these things. So this was the main message of Prophet John alayhi salam. Then what happened as a result of that? وَإِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ يَا مَرْيَمُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاكِ وَطَهَّرَكِ وَاصْطَفَاكِ عَلَى نِسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ يا مريم اقنتي لربك واسجدي واركعي مع الراكعين ذلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيه إليك وما كنت لديهم إذ تلقون أقلامهم أيهم يكفل مريم وما كنت لديهم إذ يختصمون. Remind them also the incident when the angels said to Mary, God has selected you and blessed you with purity. God has exalting you above ladies, chosen you for the manifestation of a great sign. Mary, remain obedient to your Lord, plus kneel and prostrate before him with those persons who prostrate before him. O Prophet Muhammad, this is the unknown history which we are revealing to you, but you were not present at the time when the persons of the mosque Aqsa were casting lots to decide which of them should be responsible guardian of Mary. You were also not present with them when they were having an argument in this issue. Actually, just the children of Mary radiallahu anha, she had God give her the wisdom and give her responsibility to do this prayer and pray in this prostrate and kneel in that way. You should do it, which right now we are also doing in the same method. We are doing this prayer. And then God also explained Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Arabian people did not know this, but I am explaining you this, the history of Prophet Zakaria and Mary radiyallahu ta'ala anha in detail, that what is going on, what happened. And at that time, for training of Mary radiyallahu ta'ala anha, this was a disagreement that every teacher wanted to give this training to them. So this happened, but God wanted to select for Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam, because he was not only a teacher but he was a prophet as well. So he became the guardian, and he arranged a niche which was a small room for Mary radiyallahu ta'ala anha. This happened. Then further, what happened after some times, after the training of Mary radiyallahu ta'ala anha, what happened? إذ قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله يبشرك بكلمة منه اسمه المسيح عيسى ابن مريم وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة ومن المقربين ويكلم الناس في المهد وكهلا ومن الصالحين. قالت ربي أن يكون لي ولد ولم يمسسني بشر قال كذلك الله يخلق من يشاء إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون ويعلمه الكتاب والحكمة والتوراة والإنجيل. When the angel said, Mary, God gives you glad tidings of a command from him. You will born a child, his name is the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary. He shall be noble and among the favored ones both in this world and the hereafter. He shall preach in the capacity of a prophet in his cradle and in even elderly age too as well. He shall be counted among the righteous persons. She said, Lord, how can I bear a child when no man has relations with me? He replied, in this manner God creates whom he wants. When God makes a decision, he need only say, do it, and it happens. It is done already. Consequently, it will happen thus, and God will instruct him in the religious law and wisdom which is written in the Torah and Gospel. So actually, when angels give God's message to Mary radiyallahu ta'ala that you will bear a child, so she had definitely a good question that how it may happen, because she does not have any relation with any man person. So then God's message came to her through angels that God will do it, and that automatically it will do it. There is no problem for this. But Mary radiallahu anha had a lot of problem that people will start claims, and what will happen? God explained her that this prophet, this will be prophet Jesus alayhi salam, who will explain with wisdom in detail, even at the el- elderly age as well. Even when he happened, and only just for some days he explained to everyone that there was no relation with Mary with any man, but God has created this child. So this happened. So this reputation became good, normal to Mary radiallahu anha. So right now it's good that you see the history of Israelites, what happened, that around 2000 BC, God's message was started from Abraham alayhi salam, and then God's message was the responsibility of Israel, who was the son of Ishaq alayhi salam. He was Yaqub alayhi salam, whose title was Israel, to give God's message to all this area of Palestine. He did it, and then his son Joseph alayhi salam, he explained God's message to Egypt. Then, after around 700 years, this became that Pharaoh started this persecution to Israel people. So then Prophet Moses and Harun alayhi salam explained this especially to Pharaoh, and then Pharaoh and his military, all of them were killed out, and then Israelites, they were also did this training with Prophet Moses alayhi salam, and then God gave a great victory of Palestine, that especially Suleiman alayhi salam became a great kingdom in Israel. It happened. And then God's message was giving to all the nations in different countries, because now at the time of Prophet Suleiman alayhi salam, it became the great superpower of the world. Prophet David and Suleiman alayhi salam became the great superpowers. But after sometimes around 900 BC, in Israelites they had this degeneration happened, and they started wrong activities. At that time, a lot of prophet Ahijah and Hezekiah alayhi salam, he explained to them, but they continued, did wrong activities, and then in 600 to 450 BC, they had this punishment of slavery, and they became slaves to go to Iraq. Then Prophet Uzair alayhi salam explained it, and then they go on the right way, and then got this independent state they established of Israel again in this in Palestine. They did it around 450 BC. But after some times, again degeneration happened to Israelites, but continuously prophets were there who were explaining their wrong activities. Their kings exist, but now they became under the Roman Empire. They had to do this, and their status became just a country under Roman Empire. So around 100 BC to 30 C is the period when Prophet Zachariah alayhi salam, he was explaining him. Then his son John alayhi salam explained them he was the John the Baptist. He was explaining them that you should avoid your mistakes and go baptism, do this just to worship, do this and avoid such activities. And at that time Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, his period was 5 BC to 30 CE. But what happened that after some time around 25 CE, that Prophet John alayhi salam, he was killed by the king of Israel. He did so. Prophet Jesus alayhi salam continued God's message to them till 30 CE, and then his companions did so. But Israelites, some of them go on the right way, but majority, especially their leadership, had the same problem continued for further time. So then the 70 CE, this was the great punishment to them, that Roman military just get a lot of Israelites killed, and remaining people become slaves under the Roman Empire. And whatever, some of them just go out and go to in different other countries, they had to go this. So this was the punishment to Israelites, because they became responsible to give God's message to other nations. Some of their good people do this, but majority, especially their leadership, had degeneration happen. So here God explained the bibliography of Prophet Jesus alayhi salam. Now he explained, "Rasulan ila bani Israel anni qad ji'tukum bi'ayatin min rabbikum anni akhluqu lakum min at-tin كهيئة الطير فأنفخ فيه ويكون طيرا فإذن الله وأبرئ الأكمه والأبرص وأحيي الموتى بإذن الله فنبئكم بما تأكلون وما تدخرون في بيوتكم إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين." Jesus was responsible as the ambassador of God to the Israelites. Consequently, this is what happened because Israelites were waiting about Messiah. Jesus talked to the leaders of Israelites. "I have come to you with an evidence from your Lord to confirm that I am the Messiah, ambassador of God. From clay I will make for you the likeness of a bird. Then I breathe into it, and by God's directive it will become a living bird. By God's instruction I will heal the born blind and the leper. I will raise the dead to life person, and I can tell you what you eat and what you stock in your houses, which is the secret information. I will explain you. Surely, it is a great evidence for you if you believe that I am God's ambassador and I am the Messiah. This was just these special signs were given to them as an evidence that this is the real Messiah came to you, and you should now follow the unethical activities you should avoid, and you should start do the ethics. So this prophet Jesus ﷺ explained them further. وَمُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيَّ مِنَ التَّوْرَاةِ وَلِأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي حُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَجِئْتُكُمْ بِآيَةٍ مِّن رَّبِّكُمْ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُوهُ هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Jesus discussed, I come to confirm the Torah which preceded me. I have come to make lawful for you some of the things unlawful to you by your leaders created. I bring you the evidence from your Lord. Therefore, take care of God and obey me. Indeed, God is my Lord and yours also as well. Therefore, serve Him only. This is the straight path. At that time, this sins and mistakes, especially the leadership of Israelites, what they were doing so. These are some examples I share, which is especially in the Gospels, you can get it. Accepted polytheism, they started. Ideas, they get it and getting from Roman Empire and Greece philosophies, they would get it. To get independence, terrorism, movement, activities, they did so against Roman Empire. But Prophet Jesus ﷺ explained them that don't do this, but you are responsible to give God's message to everyone. That's it. Your responsibility is this one. And don't do this terrorism and this political activities. Don't do this. Then killing prophets, especially Zachariah and John, alayhi both were killed by the king of Israel. He did so. You can see that what was the degeneration of their leadership. Innovation to get religious rituals. According to them, rituals became more important, but the real ethics in Torah, they ignored it. Changes in the religious law of the Torah, they made these changes in which was the God's law or was in Torah, they did changes. And then financial fraud, they did so. And then creation of psychological slavery to getting the followers and students so that they follow according to their leaders. Then religious and political sectarianism, they happened, and they were killing each other, their sects, each other. They were doing so, and misuse of mosques, which means like in the mosques they did unethical activities, they did so, which became only just like a financial fraud they were doing in the mosque. They were doing so. Right now, you can see the 10 commandments just in the red color, which was God's 10 commandments, were very important for them, that not make unto a graven image, because it was the polytheism will happen, but they did it. Not bow down to these statues, don't do this, but they did so. Not take the name of Lord the God in vain, because in the name of God you should only, your limit is just to explain this Torah only. But what they did, they added a lot of philosophy in the Greece, and they explained that this is the God's response. God has, this is the commandments of God, which is in Arabic it's called bid'ah, which means a new ideas they explain in the name of God. So don't do this. God explained in the 10 commandments. Then remember the Sabbath day. Sabbath was the Saturday that you should preach for God only, but they started their own activities. Then honor the father and the mother. Most of them might follow according to it, but some of them unethical activities to parents, they were doing so. God gave them that don't do the corruption, but they did so. Even on the day of Sabbath also they were doing this. Then no murder, don't kill, but due to their sects they killed each other. This was the, especially this terrorism, they were doing it. Not commit adultery, but they did so. Not steal people, not bear false witness against the neighbor, but they did so. Just for this was sort of a corruption, just to get property from others. Covet the neighbor's house, not covet the neighbor's wife, not his man servants, nor his maid servants, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is the neighbor's. So his the word neighbor was not that you should not do unethical activities to neighbor, and you are okay, you can do for other people. No, it was means that you should not do these activities, but they did it. These are the examples of corruption. And then this adultery, they did so to the wife of other people. They did it. The thunderings, this will be the result, as a result of that. And then you shall not make with me gods of silver or gold or gods of gold. Don't do this, but they did it. Hewn stones, they did it. Statues, and started worship with them as well. Nakedness, be not uncovered thereon. But they did it, which is right now you can see the same scenario of Europe and America, and even right now in Muslim countries. They started this, people become naked and show to others, which is, you can say, also a part of your adultery. So these activities, they did it. Especially if you study the Sermon on the Mount of Prophet Jesus alayhi salatu, he explained that errors are available in Israelites. Just you can read in detail in Bible this Gospel of Matthew in chapter 6. Right now I just as an executive summary, some of them I share with you right now. That do not announce it with trumpets, which was the loudspeaker of that time, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues. Synagogues is the mosque of Jews. So you should not become this hypocrites and become hypocrites for any just praying. You start this in this loudspeaker just to show that I am a real ethical person, just to show it, but in reality they are not. So don't do this. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, like in zakat, and you wanted to give help to others, so you should not disclose to everyone. You should do it in a secret way to help people. You should do this, but it was a sort of a corruption that they wanted to show that I am very ethical persons, but in reality they were not. Giving any being secret, keep it secret. Financial help or any other help to people, don't show to everyone, just because otherwise you will be hypocrites. When you pray, don't be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners. You pray there, so you should pray in the mosque or synagogue. Synagogue is also a mosque, so you should do this. Don't do this just to show people, but people were doing it. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. So you should not become this hypocrite, and you show your any good activities and this just to give propaganda, because you wanted just the leadership and become a king. You want to do this, so don't do this. You should do just for God. You should do this good activities. Don't worry about your life. Don't take care, because the political problems, they wanted to become independent and they did this terrorism and other activities. You should not do this. So Prophet Jesus ﷺ explained to them as well. You might right now, for the Muslims also, the same unethical activities you will find similar to that, especially religious leaders as well, you will find it. So this is God's message, was that you should avoid this and you should do ethical activities in the right way. Then Prophet Isa or Jesus alayhi salam explained, فَلَمَّا أَحَسَّ عِيسَى مِنْهُمُ الْكُفْرَ قَالَ مَنْ أَنصَارِي إِلَى اللَّهِ قَالَ الْحَوَارِيُّونَ نَحْنُ أَنصَارُ اللَّهِ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَاشْهَدْ بِأَنَّا مسلمون ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. Therefore, when Jesus felt that these people were persistent in their denial, come what may, he said to his disciples, who will help me in the cause of God? The disciples replied, we are God's helpers. We profess faith in God and here witness that we submit to Him. Lord, we believe in what you revealed, and in order to fulfill its responsibilities, have resolved to follow the Prophet Jesus. Therefore, count us among those who have borne witnesses to Him. So this was the last time of Prophet Jesus ﷺ. He explained to Israelites in different cities and villages as well. Go there, explain God's message to them. And the main capital was Jerusalem. He explained there as well as in other cities and villages, God's message explained to them. And then at the end, he said that now it is clear that some people of Israelites, they believed in right way and majority is not this. So who will help me to give this God's message to other countries as well? So his disciples, who were the companions of Prophet Jesus ﷺ, they said that yes, I will do this. And God accepted their service. He wanted to do this. Right now, historically, you can see in the Christianity, these are the locations of especially the Roman Empire. So how these disciples go to different cities and even the countries which is right now Turkey, Egypt, then Greece, Italy, and also go to France, wherever, and also Spain, whatever they had happened, they go there, and the message of God which came from Prophet Jesus ﷺ, they explained to everyone. And then the next generation also did so. But then what happened in 330 C period, the Roman king, his name was Constantine. He believed in Prophet Jesus ﷺ. And then you will see that in the Europe and Africa, the message of Prophet Jesus ﷺ go to this way. So right now, further we will see وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ إِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى إِنِّي مُتَوَفِّيكَ وَرَافِعُكَ إِلَيَّ وَمُطَهِّرُكَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَجَاعِلُ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوكَ فَوْقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ ثُمَّ إِلَيَّ مَرْجِعُكُمْ وَأَحْكُمُ بَيْنَكُمْ فِيمَا كُنْتُمْ فِيهِ تَخْتَلِفُونَ. This is what happened, and the Israelites started to devise secret scheme against Prophet Jesus, and in response God planned, and God is the supreme planner. At the time when God said, Jesus, I have decided to give you go out and lift you up to me. I shall purify you to get rid of such disbelievers. I shall grant your followers supremacy over these disbelievers till the day of judgment. Then to me you shall all return. Therefore, at that time I shall give verdict on what you have been differing in each other. So at that time God gave this message that Prophet Jesus ﷺ, your message has reached to different locations. Your responsibility is now finished. Now God will take you out and take to God it will go this. And even his body was not taken because Israelites leaders wanted to kill him, but God did not allow this, and as a result of that, a hypocrite, he was killed instead of Prophet Jesus alayhi. So this confusion is still available in the history. In Christianity, you will find in the history of Christianity written by Christian scholars, they said that Prophet Jesus alayhi was killed and then he came back. They say that God explained in the Quran that no, it does not happen, but God has taken Jesus alayhi go back through his body and nothing happened. So you will see the details. And this became a punishment to Israelites that they have to become under the followers of Prophet Jesus alayhi. So you can see the history of Israelites that from 70 CE to today they are under Christians or Muslims. Under this they have to live in their history. And in the Second World War, you might see that what was the punishment happened to Israelites through Germans. They did so. So this is the punishment of at the time of Prophet Jesus alayhi. This happened to them, and a lot of Jewish people were killed out, and remaining persons became under the leadership of Christians or Muslims as a result of that. Then, final sentences, God further explained, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَأُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَمَا لَهُمْ مِنْ نَاصِرِينَ وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ فَيُوَفِّيهِمْ جُورَهُمْ وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الظَّالِمِينَ. Then not only this, I shall sternly punish these disbelievers both in this world and in the hereafter. Addition to that, there shall be none to help them. And from among them, those who profess faith in God and do righteous deeds, he shall give them their reward in full. And in reality, God does not befriend such wrongdoers. So Israelites' history became an evidence for all the human persons, every person, that the result of this life will be in the hereafter. If we will have good profess faith with God and give this right activities, so God will give a lot of benefits. Otherwise, we will have the punishment. And for an evidence, God made Israelites the history that God this punishment or their victory in this life as well, just as an evidence for all the people that this will happen to every person, will happen in the hereafter. And then in this life, God has did an example in Israelites as a result of that. Then further, God explained, ذَلِكَ نَتْلُوهُ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ الْآيَاتِ وَالذِّكْرِ الْحَكِيمِ إِنَّ مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ آدَمَ خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون الحق من ربك فلا تكن من الممترين فمن حاجك فيه من بعد ما جاءك من العلم فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم أنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. These are our verses and a reminder replete with wisdom which we are reciting to you. Jesus is like Adam in the sight of God. He created him from dust and then commanded, born it, and he was born. This is the truth from your Lord. Therefore, you should not be in any doubt. O Prophet Muhammad, then if they still dispute with you after you have received knowledge in this regard, then tell them, come, let us call our children and your children, and our wives and your wives, and we ourselves and you also come, then pray and call down the curse of God on every liar. So actually what happened that during this discussion, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to the leaders of Christians, which were the especially their biggest religious leaders came to Medina. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained it and then explained God that now all of us let's go together and then pray from God that whoever is every liar person, God will give curse on them. So do this. So they did not get this challenge because this final challenge was that you should believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last prophet, is came to you and explained to you. Otherwise, this prophethood is the same. But after some time, the time of Paul, he invented this idea that Prophet Jesus ﷺ is the Son of God. Then God explained them that no, it was nothing. He was just created like Adam ﷺ. He is not the Son of God. No. So that's why if you think that in reality Jesus is Son of God, then just come and then with the family just request God that God will curse on every liar person. Do this. So definitely they did so, and they go back to their city Najran. You can see this is the Najran city, which was the majority of Christianity, and right now this was the message of Prophet Jesus ﷺ started from Lebanon and came to all these African areas, and also in Arab country the majority of Christians were, they lived in Najran. They came to Medina and discussed with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then God discussed based on the history of Christianity in detail. At the end of that, God said, "Inna hadha lahuwal qasasul haq, wa ma min ilahin illa Allah, wa inna Allah huwal azizul hakim, wa in tawallaw fa inna Allah alimum bil mufsidin." Undoubtedly, the alone is the true account, and in reality there is deity but God nothing. Surely it is God who is the mighty, the wise one. If they show indifference, then God knows such mischief persons. So this happened in detail. So this is called Mubahala. Mubahala was just the God instructed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Christian leaders of Najran that we pray for God that the curse any person who is the liar person. But Christians did not do this, and they go back to Najran, and after that they become surrender in the government of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he had the agreement that they will continuously live in Najran. But at the time when Caliph Umar radiyallahu anhu, he asked them that you should go to this Palestine and Jordan. They were settled and gave them a lot of fertile land to them that you should settle there, because at that time this was a war with Roman Empire. That's why Umar radiyallahu anhu wanted that there should be no back bonus should be there in Najran. So he settled them in Jordan and Palestine, which was right now this victory was done by during the military of Umar radiyallahu anhu. So this was the history of Christianity which is discussed in these verses. Whatever questions, feel free to send to email. Thanks a lot. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.